Hi guys, yesterday I posted an introduction video to this haul explaining my thoughts behind collecting my own little library of books by contemporary women writers, so check that out if you're interested. But today we're going to get to the first part of the actual haul, and we're going by category. So first up is poetry, and I have 4 collections to show you. The first of those is Inside the Wave by the British writer Helen Dunmore, which just won the 2017 Costa Award for Poetry. Now technically Dunmore isn't a contemporary writer anymore. She died last year, but I'm still including this collection in this project. And it features poems that Dunmore wrote while she knew she was dying. Second is Plum by Helen McNish, another British poet, and these are poems about growing up, and she includes poems that she's written at various points in her life. I'm always interested in how people think about the past versions of themselves. Is it with amusement, contempt, denial, acceptance? So it'll be interesting to see what cocktail of those emotions McNish chooses to make. Next up is a collection that will not be new to most of you. It seems that if booktubers read any contemporary poetry, they're almost contractually obligated to haul this one at some point. It's Bluets by Maggie Nelson, which has all different meditations on the color blue. And this recent vintage edition with design by Suzanne Dean is stunning. I've read some of her nonfiction books before, The Argonauts and The Red Parts, and I'm planning to read another poetry collection of hers called Jane sometime in the near future. Nelson is an American writer, and if you haven't read any of her books before, I would recommend starting with The Red Parts. Last for poetry is new and collected poems of Wisława Szymborska, who's a Polish poet, and I've heard Campbell recommend her on his channel. Now, like with Dunmore, I'm being a little loose with the term contemporary because Szymborska died in 2012, but my haul, my rules. This is translated by Stanisław Barańczak and Clare Cavanagh, and Szymborska was a Nobel laureate, so fairly promising endorsement there. The next category is fantasy, so I have Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb. This is the third in her third trilogy, so it'll be the 9th of her books that I've read, and it's part of an overarching series of 16 books. I have so many feelings about this one, the Tawny Man series in particular, so I'll be doing a non-spoiler review on Hobb's first 3 trilogies when I finish this puppy. And Hobb has rekindled my love of epic fantasy, so I think the next female fantasy writer I'm going to explore is N.K. Jemisin. We'll see. Let me know if you have any epic fantasy recommendations below. Next is short story collections. I chose 5 originally. The first has the best title of anything in this whole haul, Other Stories and Other Stories by Ali Smith, a British writer, one of my favorites. I've read 4 of her novels, The Accidental, How to Be Both, Autumn and Winter, her novella Girl Meets Boy, and her first short story collection, First Love and Other Stories, but I've heard especially good things about this collection. Then I have The Thing Around Your Neck by the Nigerian writer Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. These stories take place in Africa and the US. I've read her 3 novels and her 2 feminist essays. I really enjoy her writing, and I think she's a particularly good author for people who are looking to ease into literary fiction. This is the last book that I have from her, so when I finish it, I'll do an author spotlight on her. Next is a collection that I read this January, The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night by the British author and booktuber Jen Campbell. I had a great time with this, so I'll be talking about it in my January wrap-up. Then I have Ship Fever by Andrea Barrett, American author. This won the National Book Award. The stories are set in the 19th century and revolve around science and the natural world. Fun fact, Barrett was one of my creative writing professors in college. She's really kind and funny and thoughtful, and she has dogs, so she always carried dog treats in her pockets, and when one of us wrote a story that was really coy or confusing, she would hurl a treat at that person and say, "Throw us a bone!" My other creative writing professor was Jim Shepard, if any of you have read his work. I haven't read anything by either of them, and they're both great people and acclaimed authors, so I should rectify that. Finally, I just got Back Talk by Danielle Lazarin. It's at my sister's apartment at the moment, but I requested it from Penguin Books, and it's coming out in the US in February of this year. Lazarin is an American author. This is her debut, and it focuses on narratives of women's lives. It's been blurbed by Celeste Ng, so well done to those publishers. And it also has a great blurb from the author Eileen Polak, who says, "Thank God, a collection of stories about women who don't hate themselves, don't hate other women, don't hate their bodies, don't hate their husbands or even their ex-husbands. I have my eye on so many other collections by contemporary writers like June Lahiri, Amy Hempel, Lori Moore, Madeleine Tien, Romana Asabel, just on and on. But the past few years, my short story collection reading has been dismal. You want to know how many short story collections I read over the last 2 years? I went back to Goodreads, Scene of the Crime, to check. Fits on one hand, people, okay? So I'm starting with these 5, and I'll only let myself get more once I've read most of them and have proven to myself that short story collections are making a comeback in my reading. I also have a YA book to feature, A Skinful of Shadows by the British writer Frances Hardinge. I loved The Lie Tree. Her style is just mwah to me. The tagline for this is, "This is the story of a bare-hearted girl. Sometimes when a person dies, their spirit goes looking for somewhere to hide. Some people have space within them, perfect for hiding." I mean, come on, how could I not? Now let's talk about thrillers and crime dramas. I just read In the Woods by the American-Irish writer Tana French in January and had some issues with it. I think I'm going to make a separate video on this book, but overall I really liked it. So I picked up the second book in her Dublin Murder Squad series, The Likeness. Her series is known for strong narrative voices and beautiful writing. The other female crime writer that I'm interested in exploring in 2018 is Adichie, who's American. I'm not sure where to start with her. Maybe The Cutting season, Pleasantville, which was nominated for the Women's Prize for Fiction, or possibly Bluebird, which is her most recent book. So let me know if you have any suggestions. That's it for the first part of this haul. Be sure to let me know your thoughts, and I'll be back with the second and final video tomorrow on the nonfiction and novels that I chose for this project. So I hope to see you then. Bye guys. Thanks for watching.